During the Thomas fire, you knew this monster was going to come down the hill. And sure enough, just about right at 6 in the morning, the big blast hit. We had over 65-mile-an-hour winds hitting. Thankfully, they blew east. It gave the firefighters a chance, and they saved many homes, and they lost very few homes up there. The fire came and went, and life sort of came back to normal. Evacuations were lifted. My parents moved back in, and then all of a sudden we had this big warning, this big storm, potential storm. And I spent 3 days preparing for the storm, sandbagging, and I carried it on until the night before the mud flow. I wrote this: "The fire dragon has left us with bear in the hills above, and now his cousin, the water dragon, is here to menace us. We do what we can to prepare, and then need to get out of the way for him to do his thing. Not much rain, just steady on and off since dark. More off than on, but the dragon is swirling in the Pacific, and until dawn begins to chase him away, we will feel his fury. Be safe, my friends, be aware. No more time to prepare. The southeast winds are beginning to gust. A big cell is offshore headed our way." I wrote that and put my head down, and I got a little bit of sleep. Was awoken to the most ferocious rain I've ever heard, and jumped out of bed. I made it a block up, a block over, and almost another block up, and started noticing people walking out of their driveways. And all of a sudden I heard a very far away but very loud metallic groan of something structural failing, and I knew exactly what it was. And I turned around and started running as fast as I could, yelling, "Flash flood, flash flood." So I ran back, and my mom was in the driveway wondering where I was, and so I yelled to her to get inside. It was coming. I ran into the house. I shut the kitchen door. I went and checked the front door. I closed that right as the mud hit. I ran over and I opened this door, and this proved to be maybe the most critical decision that I made, allowing the mud not to build up but to get out of the house. I don't know why I did that. I just did. So the garage and our kitchen door were funneling a bunch of mud all over the house, and then it was streaming out here. The street had the scariest, very metallic, machine-like sound, kind of like a tank, of grinding boulders and cars and telephone poles and huge debris. Big concrete chunks that were hitting the house, logs and different items hitting the side of the side of the house. Backyard had all of my mom's incredible palm trees and landscaping slamming down and then getting ripped away. I had one hand on the wall, one hand on my mom steadying her. And the whole house was shaking. It was very loud. Scariest, most intense experience of my life. Because I knew that we had to survive until dawn. No one was coming to help us. I thought, well, it gets light at 6, so we've got to survive for 2 hours. And that thought was terrifying, so I broke it down to we need to survive for just one more second, one more second, one more second. Around 5:15, 5:20, things had calmed down, and I was now looking for a way that we could escape. The rain started picking up in intensity again, and I really feared kind of a second wave of debris. And I figured we survived the first one, we're not going to get killed by the second one. And twice I tried. In fact, we actually all started to evacuate to the back, and I finally decided it was too much of a flow. We would not survive getting them across that flow. So we came back, and I went out to the front. And that's when I saw the first couple of trucks going up the street. They were kind of contractor, dualies, big trucks. And the third truck that came up was a Santa Maria fire truck, and they stopped, and I told them we had 3 people plus a dog, and we all loaded in the truck and were evacuated. As we were walking out, we passed, we had to go around a tree, big sycamore that had come up from a third of a mile, maybe a half mile up the street. Trunk was this big around, the root ball was about that tall, and it missed our house by 6 or 8 or 10 feet at the most. If that tree had hit the corner of our garage, I wouldn't be here. It would have started a catastrophic failure of the house. Everybody in Montecito was exhausted. They were tired of evacuating. Evacuation fatigue and evacuation denial were two very, very real factors in this disaster. We lost 21 of our members of our community, and we're still missing another 2 of them that weren't ever found. So coming back now, it's really surreal. It's maybe I'm detached. It's just kind of a muddy work zone. We've had 1,300 man hours of help with the Bucket Brigade, Santa Barbara Bucket Brigade, and with Habitat for Humanity and the Southern Baptist Disaster Relief Group, as well as people from the outside, from Paso Robles to as far as away as Washington, D.C., volunteers who came to help pull the 2 to 3 plus feet of mud out of my house. My sister had the brilliant idea of printing out pictures of what our house used to look like. So everywhere you look in the house, you'll see these printouts, and that's really helped us keep kind of our eyes on the prize, as well as the volunteers realize that this isn't just a muddy work site, that this was a beautiful home, and will inspire them to help us to bring it back to the home it once was.